World War I, Section 1 with Miss Lashi. The Great War. World War I was not called WW1 until after World War II broke out. At the same time, and for several decades, it was called the Great War as it was a massive war unlike one that had ever happened before. It lasted from 1914 until 1918. Mania. The five main causes for the outbreak of World War I, WW1, were militarism, alliances, nationalism, imperialism, and assassination. If you take the first letter for each of these, they spell out mania. M for militarism, A for alliances, N for nationalism, I for imperialism, and A for assassination. Militarism. The decades leading up to World War I, countries in Europe competed in an arms race to have the largest militaries. They each wanted to have the biggest army, navy, and eventually air force as well. They also wanted to have more weapons and equipment than other countries in Europe. An arms race is basically when countries are competing against each other to make sure that they have more than the next person does. They want to have the biggest military, the biggest navy, the biggest military forces in general. Alliances. Many European nations also created alliances or agreements to protect one another if someone started a war with them. Some of these alliances were public knowledge, but some were kept secret. Two major alliances that formed were the Triple Entente and the Triple Alliance. If you look over here at this diagram to the right, you can see the blue areas are the Triple Alliance and the red are the Triple Entente. The green are the Balkans, which is basically the peninsula where Greece is located and the countries above it. So as you can see, Bulgaria had made alliances or agreements or received aid from the Triple Alliance, and Serbia was in alliances or getting aid from the Triple Entente. And so it made this intertangling system of alliances where people agreed to protect each other or provide each other with aid. Nationalism. War had been considered to be necessary in Europe. It also increased national pride. Nationalism is when people have extreme pride in their nation. They believe that their nation is superior to others. Imperialism. European countries wanted to have colonies so that they had access to more raw materials and new markets to sell goods to. Colonies also provided a place to establish refueling stations for their navies. Nations competed against each other for control over the world's regions. The Balkans. The Balkan Peninsula, the peninsula where Greece is located, was a very heated region. It was controlled by the Austro-Hungarian Empire, small independent nations, and the Ottoman Empire. Slavic groups sought independence within the Austro-Hungarian Empire. The Balkans were known as the powder keg of Europe. So if you look over here to this right, this is a map of the Balkan Peninsula in 1914. As you can see in the almost the middle, a little to the left of the middle, we have the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Those red lines that are shaded, those are Slavic peoples that are living within the Austro-Hungarian Empire. And if you look down, just south of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, we see Serbia. And they're green, and you can see they have a lot of dashes too. So this is a very ethnically Serbian or Slavic people. And this is going to cause some problems. These groups are going to try to fight for control over the Balkan Peninsula, and each are wanting to have their own independence and to have self-determination where they control their own lives and have their own independent countries. Assassination. Archduke Franz Ferdinand was the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne. He would be the next emperor. Serbian nationalists wanted Bosnia to be part of Serbia and joined the two Slavic groups. Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated by Gavrilo Princip, a member of the Black Hand, a group supported by Serbian nationalists. So if you look to the right, this is a picture of Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophie. They were actually on their way to a hospital to visit some soldiers who had been wounded, and they were on a peacekeeping mission, essentially. They had gone to Sarajevo to try to calm some of the tensions that were happening in the region. And Sarajevo is the capital of Bosnia, which is located inside the Austro-Hungarian Empire. And Bosnia is mostly Slavic, and the Slavics want to be part of Serbia, and the Serbians wanted them to be part of Serbia as well. So this is a very heated region. When he is assassinated, he's in a motorcade, and the motorcade is on the way to the hospital, and one of the cars in front of them gets firebombed by this group called the Black Hand, and then his car takes off. And the Galvio Princip, who's a member of the Black Hand, is like, okay, well, I lost my shot to literally try to shoot the Archduke. So he starts heading home. And he stops in a sandwich shop and grabs a sandwich. All the while, the Archduke's cars happen to be driving down the same street as the sandwich shop, and the driver gets lost. So he pulls over to try to figure out where he's at. And at that moment, Galvio Princip walks out of the sandwich shop, sees the Archduke in his car right outside, shoots his wife Sophie first in the stomach, and then shoots Archduke Franz Ferdinand. They both die from their wounds. It was a very brutal and gruesome attack. Austria-Hungary demands revenge. Austria-Hungary made a series of unreasonable demands in retaliation for the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. It was only a matter of time before the alliance system began to fall into place as one country after another in Europe declared war against each other. This picture here to the right, this is actually a picture of Galvio Princip, the man who assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand.